recipe is something that I have promised in my gardening channel, and as you know, most of my vegetable that I cook in this cooking channel are something I grow in my garden. And I did make a promise that I will be showing several recipes of this vegetable here called upo or bottle gourd. In this bowl I have shrimp, and I went ahead and leave the shell and the head on some of the shrimp as they look so nice, and I thought it would make for a very good presentation. The rest of them I went ahead and peeled. So that's one of the proteins which I'm going to incorporate with this recipe. I also will be cooking it with bacon, and these are very tiny pieces of pork. It will also serve to flavor the vegetable well, and the aromatics are garlic, onion, and tomato. So let me show you what the skin is edible. I will present a recipe sometimes in the very near future, cooking this vegetable without peeling it. Okay, so I'm being very descriptive, I believe, of this vegetable because in my gardening channel I do have some friends and viewers that do not even know that this type of gourd is edible. So this is bottle gourd, the edible type. I do know that there are some gourd that are not edible, but this is the edible type, okay? And I have made a promise that I'm going to show them some recipe, and this will be one of it, one among those recipes that I am planning to present in this cooking channel. And as you can see, you can cut this any way you want to, and if you happen to harvest this type of vegetable at a much later date where the seeds are more mature than what I have here, I believe you can just scrape that part off and you can still use the rest of the vegetable for cooking. Okay, now this is a very nice and tender early stage bottle gourd or upo. Now I'm going to start with the bacon. I'm going to allow the bacon to brown to render some of the fat, and I will use that to saute the rest of the ingredients. Okay, as you can see, which oftentimes when we render the fat of bacon, this really is quite a good amount right there. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this fat. I'm going to add the pork, and I'm going to allow this to brown. Now, the little pieces of pork, I had that pre-seasoned with some paprika, fresh black pepper, salt. Okay, so now our pork is nicely browned, and we are going to start sauteing the aromatics. I just go ahead and push all of the bacon and pork on the side, and now we are going to use or add our first aromatic, garlic, So with this recipe, I'm using garlic, onion, and tomatoes. Okay, as you can see, the onions are translucent, and if you look at the bottom of this pot, you see all those brown bits down there. Those will actually give you that flavor, and it will really enhance the flavor of your recipe. So I don't get threatened by this brown bits at the bottom. Once you put anything that is a bit juicy or saucy like the tomato, you will see that in a little while all those brown bits will come off. So we're gonna give that tomato a chance to do its job. Got my stove on high. I'm gonna lower that to number 7 and allow this to continue cooking. Let's put a lid on it so that it could steam and cook the meat through. What I'm looking for is the oil to separate from the tomato sauce, and once I see that is my signal that I'm about ready to add my vegetables, and I see that that's happening. So I am now going to add the upo. So now we add a little bit of fresh cracked pepper, and we're going to season the vegetables. Probably a little less than a teaspoon of salt, and I will go ahead and add a little bit of my chicken broth to make sure that it don't dry up on me. And now I let it come to boil. Okay, so you can see that the vegetable itself has released some of its own juice, and I just want to taste this for seasoning. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's so good right now. I could eat it just like that, but I'm not even done yet. I still have my shrimp. Just as it is, my husband will be very happy with this. The acidity of the tomato. I use my, since that's the tomato that's starting to ripen in my garden now, I use my heirloom Cherokee purple tomato, and it gave that acidic flavor somewhat, not sour, but kind of just balanced the sweetness of the vegetable, and it really give a very, I can't describe a depth of flavor that has been a long time since I tasted, and it's absolutely delicious. What I'm going to do now, since it seems like it's perfect like it is, I'm going to add the shrimp. The vegetable is not completely done yet, as you can see. And I'm going to line up. I decided to save some of the shrimp with the head and the shell on just for presentation purpose. I like doing that for my viewers. So there, I add the shrimp. Let's season that a bit. not too much. By using the salt shaker, you kind of control the flow. So we're going to cover that. So there. Okay, let's test the vegetable for doneness. As you can see, I cut right through this without any problem at all. Okay, so, and shrimp, I'll give it about 5 seconds more just to make sure my shrimp is cooked through, the vegetable is cooked, and try not to overcook your vegetable to where it doesn't have any kind of texture at all. I really like my vegetable to have slight crispness to it. Nothing worse than a soggy vegetable. Okay, so I don't need to add any more chicken broth. As you can see, it's got lots and lots of juice, which my husband likes, and I'm just gonna turn it off because that residual heat will continue cooking the shrimp, and I'll just wait for my rice that I'm going to serve this with, and I will plate this and let you see what it looks like. Okay, so that's done. It's been a while since I presented a good recipe, and I believe this is one of recipe that you will enjoy.